I got somebody super special for you today. We got big time Nancy Lamb hanging out with us. You're talking about going from the Navy right into a big time account executive with Air Gap, which is an awesome company doing some amazing things out there in the world.
Let me tell y'all out there a little story, man, and it goes a little something like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, it is yours truly once again, the corporate security translator and the author of So You Want to Get Into Corporate Security. I got somebody super special for you today. We got big time Nancy Lamb hanging out with us. You're talking about going from the Navy right into a big time account executive with Air Gap, which is an awesome company doing some amazing things out there in the world. So here we go. What's up, Miss Nancy Lamb? How are you?
Not much. I'm doing wonderful. As I was telling you earlier, last week I became a grandmother. I am extremely excited.
You know, and that's crazy because, I mean, you look like you're 25. So, you know, I understand it, but come on.
Well, thank you. I like that.
Congratulations. That is really, really cool. I have an 18-month-old and the wifey's pregnant again. So we're just starting ours. And look at you. You said you have a wonderful son that's serving the military, I think, right?
Yeah, I actually have 3 children. I have 2 boys. Both of them are in the Navy. One I adopted. He's a hospital corpsman stationed in Pensacola.
Nice.
And then my son, Jason, who just had a baby, and he's in Washington. He's a submariner. And then I just want to put a shout out to my dog, my amazing daughter, who keeps me on my toes all the time. She's actually a a sharpshooter for the junior rifle team in California. So she competes and is doing amazing.
Oh,
yes, in California.
My God. Look at you. I should have had you a long time ago. Like, the whole family's in the military and doing amazing, amazing things for this country. This is huge. I am so proud and happy to have you. I am so proud and happy that your family is out there and really doing amazing things for me, my family, and protecting us, the country, and everybody else. And I learned something too. I think I said at one time submariner or something like that, and somebody said no, I think submariner or I forgot how they say it, but they were very particular about how to go about saying submariner or
Submariner.
So yeah, I made a mistake. I am like, that's not, I am Portuguese, so a lot of times it comes across. Yeah, it happens. But look, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for giving back to the military community and those folks that are transitioning from the military, law enforcement, emergency services, federal careers into the corporate world. And you have a real awesome story. And I'd love for you to share a little bit. Talk to the folks a little bit about your path coming out of the Navy and where you are today.
Sure. So when I was in the Navy, I was an aerographer's mate. My job was to collect, analyze raw data for weather and assist the forecasters in forecasting the weather for the different bombing ranges that's out in Fallon. I love my job. It's so much fun. Where can you go? You can meet top fighter pilots all over the world, and if you're nice to them, they take you up with them, and you get to go flying and seeing air-to-air combat from high up. I loved it.
That is insane. Wait a second, you were able to do that?
Unofficially, but yes, I've been up many times.
Man, that is awesome. That's incredible. So is it like a weather person?
Yes. So I was basically my job is not that glorified. I'm a weather person, observer. My job is to collect like the raw data, but because Fallon is where a lot of training happens there.
Oh.
It's the Navy's one of the largest Navy strike warfares there. So everybody goes there to practice and do all their fighting and dog fights and all that.
Yeah.
And I got to know some of the pilots and some of the guys in the C-130s that does the refueling. So I was able to really maximize my time there. I really enjoyed all the things the military has to offer.
Very, very cool. All I know is cumulus clouds. And don't ask me what the definition of that is because I have absolutely no clue. But again, awesome. Now you work for Air Gap now, which is kind of cool as an account executive out there. But you didn't start from there. So when you got out of the Navy, we're like, what were your thoughts? You like, I got to transition out. I got to do something different. How did what happened? What were the thoughts? What was going on?
I was very lost. This was over 20 years ago. There wasn't that many services available when I got out. I didn't know how am I going to use the skills that I learned. I ended up being a restaurant manager for a very short period of time. And then someone said, hey, you know what? You love to talk and you have no problems talking to people. You should get into sales.
Right.
And that's kind of how I transitioned from the military into the corporate world. And I received all my training from just on the job training. I work for an amazing company now. We do something very, very unique that I don't think any other company does with ransomware. So we have this kill switch that if for some reason your network gets attacked and you have a ransomware, we have a button that you push and it stops it all. So I've been there for 3 weeks and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
That is key. And it's an interesting thing. So I'm gonna go back a little bit on your thoughts there. One of them was that, you didn't know exactly what to do, how to do it. The restaurant business is a super tough business. I came from Orlando, Florida, the home of hospitality, hotels and restaurants and Mickey Mouse, of course. And I know that's a tough business. So congratulations to you for stepping into something like that. And I'm sure you knocked it out of the park. But then you're like, okay, I think I'm going to be okay. Or somebody told you about sales and you got into this thing. And like you said, you didn't have to know anything about it. You just needed to jump in, right?
Right. So I drew from my military experience. I had no technical training, didn't know anything about LAN, WAN, and all those technical terms or anything like I knew nothing.
Right.
But because, with the things that I learned in the Navy, pay attention to detail, always look forward and just be able to communicate. And the biggest thing that I learned was communication was key in what you do. And because with my job in the Navy, I'm always talking to people from all over the world. And that really helped me to what I do now. Yeah. I mean, I never thought I was going to be from a weather girl to in corporate sales, but it's been a great ride.
Yeah, it's outstanding that you say that because a lot of the work there in the outside world, you can learn on the job. I mean, a lot of it is on the job training. So I speak to a lot of military folks, Nancy, and they're like, well, I don't know if I have much to offer because I'm just a military person. I spoke to a gentleman one time. He's like, I'm just a grunt, and though the term is used widely, this person, I knew him and I knew that they were like way more than a grunt. They were incredible human beings. And what you just said was key is going back into what you knew, the principles of what you knew and make it work for you. And I think you again, you're knocking it out of the park. Oh, hold on. I got to clap. You're knocking it out of the park. See, there you go. So when that happened and you were able to transition kind of into what you do today, what were some of your thoughts? I mean, you get into this new world of sales. Was there some thoughts or some positive things or negative things that you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can make it?
I have that a lot, especially when I first started, because in sales, it's what have you done for me lately? Oh. And if you don't perform, you lose your job. In the military, you don't perform, you get in trouble, but you still have a paycheck.
Right.
In the corporate world, if you don't perform, you get fired. I mean, you get laid off. That's just simple as that. And the culture was a lot different in the service. It's all about teamwork. I have your six, and we're there for each other. In the corporate world, at the beginning, when I first started, it was a very dog-eat-dog world where everybody was out for themselves. How am I going to make myself number one and push the other person down? And that was really tough for me, transitioning from a happy, fun environment where everybody works together to I'm going to be number one and I don't care what you do and how I get there.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that. I had a podcast with a good friend of mine, Altaf Bora, and one of the things that he said about the corporate world was it was like in a way a dog eat dog kind of world, but he didn't feel the mission. He didn't feel that people had his six, like you said. Uh, it seemed like everybody was out to get him. The corporate world was a different one, until he's kind of started to understand it and feel. But it took him a while. It was like a learning curve to understand how it moves, how it walks, and how it talks. And I'm guessing that's kind of what you had to go through.
I did. I did. It took me many years to figure out, okay, you know what? How am I going to make this a better environment so that I can wake up and enjoy what I do? And I am able to do that now, where like I said, I work for an amazing company where we work together. It's teamwork. It's how do we work together to accomplish our goals.
Yeah.
Versus when I first started, I didn't know what to do, didn't know much, and I didn't have
Yeah.
any mentorship.
Yeah, you kind of just jumped in. You jumped in and get it. So through this process of learning, you had to kind of figure out how to navigate the system. What were some of the things that helped you kind of uh, stay on, understand, and go on top? Was it like consistency or something? What was it then like got you to feel comfortable at the sales job? Because a sales job, like you said, you're not selling it. I don't want to hear from you. All right. So how are you able to do it? How do you focus? How do you do these things?
Well, actually, when I first started sales, I was selling long distance to mom and pop strip malls, and when people had bad days, they literally throw you out of their stores. And I used to
Wow.
come home crying, "Oh my God, they hate me!" And I learned to have thick skin, just like in the service. You take what people say, and you realize at that moment they're having a bad day. It's not you, and you just keep on persevering, and you just keep on going. And that's the attitude I've always had, was just like the cartoon Meet the Robinson. You keep moving forward, and I know it's kind of funny, but
I
it's
love
true.
it.
I love that. I love that phrase, and I tell my kids that all the time.
I love it. This is amazing. This is really good stuff. The thing that really excites me about you is the part that you keep on going back. And by the way, listeners, this is a key. This is a key thing that I always say. You have to go back to what you know, and you have to be able to translate what you know into what your world is today. And Nancy, what you're saying is you having to go back to what you remember what it used to be, right? To be the communications piece of it, and to make sure that you took everything that you learned in the military and you're translating it as you're going throughout your life and your career. Because sadly, a lot of military folks feel down more often than not when they have to transition, because again, they miss a lot of these things that you're talking about. But I wanted to then to get on to another point, because the sales business is a tough business, and like you said, if you don't sell, they kind of disown you. Was it when you were looking for a new company, after you're walking around, by the way, hitting the pavement and trying to make some sales, when you were doing that, and it wasn't working out for you in that kind of sense, were you looking for a better company later on? I mean, how did you get to a company now? Because you're saying these folks are awesome, which is great, Air Gap. But how did that process go? Because another thing I've heard from the military folks is that once they get a job, they think that they need to suffer through a process, or suffer through bad leadership, or suffer through whatever, just because they were kind enough to give them a job. I don't think it's that way. I think you got to find your happiness.
No, I definitely agree. I've had some sour places that it was not a good work environment. And what I learned was, what, making money is great. And I made a lot of money at some of these companies that had a very toxic environment. But I realized at the end of the day, I need to feel good. I need to wake up in the morning and say, I'm excited to go to work. And so company culture is very important. You don't have to take the first job that comes. A lot of people think, okay, I'm out of the service. I have no job. I have nothing. I'm just going to take the first thing that comes along. You know what? There are great companies out there. It's
Yep.
just, you have to do your due diligence, and you have to just keep on persevering.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. Like, one of your homeworks when you're transitioning out of the military is to try to meet with folks that are in these companies that you think you want to go work at, and then talk to them about the culture, and talk to them about the approach and how they do things and how the work is, because that's key. It's finding the right culture for you. Some people are too rigid. Some people have awesome people skills. Some don't. We've seen people, me, I was prior law enforcement. I know for a fact that there's some people that should never be in the corporate world, as they probably should never be in the sales business, because they would just they're not people person. You have to be like whoever told you when you're in a restaurant, like, you're a people person. You should be doing this. So that's really exciting that you're saying that. Now, for folks in today's world, as they are, transitioning once again, what is it that some things that you can tell them? Look, you should think about this, think about that. Open up their eyes to the outside world. Give them some hope.
Sure. So I always say, don't pigeonhole yourself just because, like you said, you did security, you physical security in the service. And I was a weather girl. I mean, come on, I analyzed raw, boring data. But I took what I learned, and I looked at the big picture. What am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? Because whatever you do, this is something that you can do for a very long time. You have to be able to wake up in the morning and be excited about it. So broaden your horizon, and you know what? Ask for help. I was very fortunate that I've connected to some amazing people on LinkedIn that has been mentors for me. And there's plenty of people out there that will help you succeed, because we're all veteran, especially the veteran community is a very strong community, and we're there to help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said some key things about communicating, contacting, creating relationships. A lot of, some people have asked me straight up, hey, man, can you mentor me? You have some time to mentor me? Yeah, absolutely, I do. I want to help. It's being able to get out and ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. And that's the thing, is some military folks got to stop being shy. Stop being shy. Go out there, shake some hands and hug some babies, and start making that connection. But you're right. And we talked a little bit about this. Just because you're in the military, that doesn't mean that you need to go to corporate security, or that doesn't mean that you need to go be a cop. It doesn't mean, like, you have a tremendous amount of things to offer to the world, and leadership obviously is one of them. You can almost be a leader in almost anything. And I think that's kind of like your path, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible to me, that just the idea of that. So I speak to a lot of military folks, and that's exactly what they say. Hey, what is my worth? I did 8 years of, I don't know, I was a mechanic or something like that, like a gentleman from the Army that I spoke to. And I said, hey, were you leading that shop? Oh yeah, man, I was leading that shop. Well, how many people were you leading? Great. How many people have you helped move up, from an E1, 2, 3, 4 to whatever, a 5, 6, 7 kind of thing? How many people today that you led that are like E8s and E9s? How many lieutenants that kind of jumped in your shop with you, that you guided and you helped, and you're a great mentor to them, obviously behind back doors, because we kind of know how it works. But, and you were able to get them somewhere else. Like, you have to remember those things. And have you ever gone back and always thought about those things? Like, how did you get a chance to lead and help people out?
In my job, I wasn't. But like I said, I took a lot of the experience that I did learn. One of the really quickly was, so for part of my job, I speak to pilots, high-ranking officers all the time. At first, I was so scared of talking to them because, oh my gosh, they're an officer, they're an amazing pilot, they're this, that, and whatever. But at the end of the day, I realized I had something to offer them. I had information that's going to help them do their job and do a great job at it. And I should not be afraid to express how I feel and just communicate. And I think that's helped me out a lot. Just like in the corporate world, I talk to top executives of very large companies on a daily basis. And if I still have that fear of, oh my gosh, I can't talk to a CTO or CEO of a company, because I don't have a degree, for whatever the reason is, that's not the case. Draw from the strength that you have, from the military, and from just life that you've learned, and go with it.
Oh man, absolutely. You are a winner. You get more claps for that, because I think that is an outstanding idea. Now that's what, and by the way, what she just said is money. Everybody, it's money, what she just said. So, hey, with this new company that you're now with, Air Gap, how did that go? How did you find them, or did they find you? It was just something that was like, okay, I'm interested in the technology that they're putting out there, or because I believe that everything in the technology world is, it's the future, obviously, and we know that. But I think what you guys are doing and what everybody else out there is saying about your company is really well. How did you find them? What was the process of that?
So I wanted to be in cybersecurity. I've been in cybersecurity for a while, and I knew this is where I wanted to stay. I was doing research, and I had a friend that I was telling them, hey, you know what? I still want to stay in this, but I want a good technology. I don't want to sell something to sell something. I want to be able to actually help a company out and add value to it. Because that's how you're able. I want to be successful, and I'm not going to sell something that's just there. And he said, well, you know what? You should talk to Satesh. Um, he's got a great company, and I think it's something that you'll really have a good time. So I met with the CEO. We talked about, I did my homework on the technology. I loved it. I thought they had something that was very unique in the market, and that one I could sell and be very successful, because that's really important. But then when I met with the CEO, he was just delightful, and I knew this is where I wanted to go. But this was a referral, and I always say utilize your network. It's very, very important. Don't be afraid to say, "Hey, I'm interested in doing this and that," because if you don't, like you said, if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I expressed how I felt, and they said, "Hey, I think that's a good match." And a few weeks later, here I am.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny that you say that. I hear a lot more folks talking about it came from just the physical security side. Hey, you should think about cybersecurity. You should think about cyber side of things. You should think about cyber side of things. So I kind of started, telling the military folks that at least call me. They're like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a degree or something. I'm thinking about getting a master's, or I'm thinking about getting this as I get out into the outside world. What do you think I should be doing? And I really think that the InfoSec cybersecurity side of things is going to be like the new physical security. And
Mm-hmm.
I think you're seeing that. That's probably the reason why you said, well, let me get into this kind of technology than a normal sales. I'm guessing.
Oh, absolutely. I was in networking, sold hardware, software, pretty much anything to make the IT department run. And I realized I wasn't challenging myself, and I wanted to provide more. I have a great network. I know a lot of people, and I wanted to be able to say, hey, I have something of value to talk to you about, versus I'm selling the same thing everybody else is. I have value. And that's really important to me, is to be at a place where you're able to provide value and solution to, these great companies.
Uh, to provide solutions. So I tell people all the time, I might be wrong once again, Nancy, and I'm wrong often. Again, anybody can ask my wife. She will tell you I'm wrong quite often. But I tell people all the time, like when you're looking for a job or something, or you're looking for your next career transition, or you're trying to design your resume to a job description, I always tell them, be the solution that a company needs.
Mm-hmm.
Be the solution and sell yourself in that kind of way. Understand the job description, and then be the solution that company needs. And it appears that that's how you felt. That I'm like, I can be the solution to help this company do some big things.
Exactly. That was the approach that I use. And I like I said, I really enjoy what I do. And I know it's the honeymoon stage. It's only been, a few weeks, but it's just been a wonderful ride so far.
I personally think that you're killing it, and that's it. You should get a raise right away. Whatever the agreement is with the company, you should just get a raise right away, and then you move on from that. I don't know. Let me know, Satesh. I'll give him a call, and then we'll get that going for you. I think that'll be the way to go.
Yes.
There you go. So listen, we're kind of slow.
Actually, you know what? I mispronounced my CEO's name, and I need to fix that. Otherwise, he's going to kick my butt if he hears this podcast. It's Rutesh. Rutesh, not Satesh. Rutesh, yes.
I think I might have. You sure? I might have said Satesh. I'm a little slow, so it does happen. It happens. I mess up all the time. But again, ask my wife; she'll tell you. See, that's how.
You know what? I do the same thing too. So, and I'm like, wait a minute. If he hears this and I say his name wrong, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, no, I still don't know my wife's name. See, there you go. We made it all easier now. Everything's good.
Okay.
So, but we're closing down. We're coming up on about 25 minutes or so, and 5 minutes left. And I'm not asking you to pour your heart, but there's a lot of great men and women, as you know, because your family's always been involved with the military. They're coming out of the military and transitioning, especially a lot of folks after September 11th, a lot of folks joined the military. So they're coming around 20 years right now. So there's a lot of folks coming out 20 into 25 years. Give them just some, I don't know, some hope, some words of wisdom, and some like hoorah, go get them kind of. Is that what you say in the Navy? You don't say hoorah. No,
We don't say hoorah.
No, okay. What do you say when you're like people get excited in the Navy? What do you say?
We say so many different things.
Yeah,
but
we
definitely hoorah is more of a Marine Corps phrase.
Got it. Okay. They are part of the Navy. Sorry, so I'll use it as an excuse. Okay, I'll do an excuse. I'll use it, and then we'll go with it. But give them some words of wisdom before we close this out.
Sure. I just want you to know, just because you did something that you in the military you thought was mediocre and that wasn't going to transition to civilian life, and when you get out, you feel so lost. You know what? You have a wonderful support system out there. Utilize it. Ask for help, and you never know where you're going to be. You know, I had no idea what I was going to do. Now I'm in a wonderful company. I'm enjoying myself and living the life, and that's what life is. I literally enjoy waking up and going to work every day. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You don't want to have a job just to have a job. And there are hopes out there. There are places that have a wonderful work environment, and you have a good time.
I love it. I love it. That's right. There are places out there, folks, that can be the one for you. You just got to go out, do some investigations on the culture, and make sure that it's a right fit for you, because it's, the interview process goes both ways every single time. And you got to make sure that, it fits exactly what you're looking for as well. But Miss Nancy Lamb, I want to thank you so much for spending about 30 minutes with us and the folks and the great listeners out there. Please come back soon, and let's do it. Let's do it again multiple times. Hey, it's a heck of a lot of fun. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
You are awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, it is yours truly once again, the corporate security translator and the author of So You Want to Get Into Corporate Security. And we covered a bunch of stuff with Nancy. Check this out. Let me see. Bring the information that you learned in the Navy into your new job today. We talked about communication in the outside world. You kind of have to perform, especially in the sales business, but it's okay because you got a lot of support and a lot of good people out there to help you through the process. It's a weird thing when you're in the corporate world because not everybody has your six all the time. So it's important to find a company where folks are out there and they're really out there to help you out. And then look at this. She didn't have she didn't have thick skin, and she did have thick skin, and then she learned a heck of a lot of things out there in the world while learning in the workplace, which it's doable. That's how it works in the outside world. And you should think about connecting with some people on LinkedIn, starting some network, and the cybersecurity field might be something for you. It's definitely the future of what we do. So take care, everybody. Have a great day, great night, wherever you are in the world, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Take care. Bye.